Did you know 90% of parents sacrifice their sanity for family vacations? Well, I'm one of them, which is why I'm sharing a story of how we turned a potential disaster into memorable experience. We lost a week of work, but now we are 3 days into an impromptu family holiday. Who needs savings when you can make memories, right? We've got a budget that's tighter than a toddler's grip on their favorite toys, but I figured since I've got to have the week off work anyway, may as well make the most of what we've got while we can, instead of having to take another additional week off in the future and having even more financial stress. I mean, we're not going to be cheap, we're just going to be frugal. Okay, we're going to be cheap. We even went to the strawberry farm, Macmillan Strawberry Farm, and we found out that strawberries were $24 a kilo, so we thought we better not pick too many and we're being really stingy. We got to the end and it was only $6. And then we were kicking ourselves because Zoe loves strawberries and we love strawberries, and they were the best strawberries we ever had. In saying that, there are other times where our stinginess saves us a fortune because Amanda orders things off the kids menu and we take pre-cut Vegemite sandwiches everywhere we go for Zoe, and usually just share a few things off my plate with her. She eats what I eat. Works out great. Saving money isn't the only skill that you need on these family holidays. You also need to be extremely flexible, because you'll find out that sometimes you put something into Google Maps and traffic is going to imprison you for hours, and you cannot do that with a tiny baby. Speaking of tiny babies, sometimes they decide to skip their naps or fall asleep at inconvenient times, so you have to improvise and skip the next stop and enjoy another activity further down the road. I used to think that traveling was all about adventure and freedom, freeing yourself from the constraints of daily life. But traveling with a family is like adding a whole bunch of really crazy new constraints that you never imagined could exist before. And then it's like a challenge. Can you have just as much fun or more within those constraints? And can you keep everybody happy while you're doing it? I mean, it's all about balance, right? I haven't had time to shower, but I've had time to do all of the essential things to keep my little tiny human alive. So that, for me, is a parenting win. We didn't bring any toys with us, but the world is made of toys. She's more interested in taking the telephone off the hook and putting it back on than playing with any of the boring stuff that she's had a million times at home. We're not lost. We're just exploring alternate routes. It is really stressful when you're on holidays. You're stuck with each other in confined spaces for extended periods of time. We've both got this picture of creating this magical, memorable experience with our tiny baby child. We want her to have a good time too. So we end up in these situations where we're in these beautiful locations surrounded by lovely beaches and sunsets, and you're actually just wishing that you could have a solo trip to the bathroom without anybody knocking on the door. And then you're there, finally having that moment to yourself, and then you just hear this catastrophe in the other room because Bubba's done something nuts, and then you hear all the aftermath and you're going in there like, what do you need? What am I gonna do? There's a lot of that, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but we're going to just focus on the sunshine and rainbows, take lots of pictures, make lots of memories, and focus on that. My partner and I are both very independent and very strong-willed. We each have our strengths and we each have our weaknesses. And this trip has taught me to capitalize on my partner's strengths and just have total faith in her. I know she can make an incredible itinerary and she can find the best deals on every experience that's out there. My first thought when I see what she's planning is that sounds really expensive, but then she finds 50% off every aspect of every deal, and we end up having this incredible time that we couldn't possibly have had if I had have constantly blocked every idea that she had. When Amanda said we should do a challenge room together, I wasn't quite sure we would be able to work as a team, but there are some things where our strengths complement each other. We ended up doing 5 different challenge rooms together and even managed to beat one of the high scores. People might not realize that you can do activities like this with a baby, but Zoe was giggling non-stop. Yeah, the Hijinks Hotel was a lot of fun. The whole place has this vibe like your Alice in Wonderland, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Really trippy and creative. Even the marketing's creative. I ended up finding some free passes in the books in the library because I saw a bookmark and I was thinking, who actually sat down to read a book in this overstimulating place that everything's trying to take your attention? Somebody sat down to read a book. So that led to us getting a whole bunch of free passes and 2-for-1 deals and stuff. So we ended up doing Chermside, like challenge rooms, and the Surfers Paradise ones when we got back home. The focus of this holiday was taking as many photos as possible and making new memories. I didn't want Zoe and Amanda to be waiting on me while I was filming the whole time, so I broke it up into little pieces. This approach allowed me to be much more present and enjoy the little things, like Zoe's adorable frustration at the strawberry farm. She just wanted to pick every fresh, juicy strawberry and start gnawing on it immediately, and we had to keep taking them off her. She just didn't understand that we had to pay for the fruit before we eat it. You can't explain that to a 10-month-old, but it was so adorable, and she was so happy when we finally let her devour the entire box in the backseat of the car. Although Mama was not so happy because her white cardigan was now pink. We're actually very lucky to have such an easygoing baby. She's been going on hikes in the wilderness since she was 6 weeks old. So we took her to Mullaney Bird World, and there were parrots and giant macaws landing all over us. She was looking them straight in the eye with nothing but awe in her face. She was just giggling and cackling, having the best time. She even had so much confidence that she got really friendly with one of them and it bit her. She cried it out, and then we showed her the footage later. Amanda was a little bit worried that she might get triggered again and be upset again, but she'd already let that moment go, and she just thought it was hilarious, and she was touching the bird on the screen, and good mood, everything's fine. I hope this video encourages others to just take the time out for the holiday. Cherish the time that you have with your families. I'm glad I lost work. It's an opportunity. It didn't look like an opportunity, but we made the most of it. And now we have all of these beautiful experiences and memories to carry with us into the future. I'd love it if you pass this video on to other families who might be inspired, and also leave your comments down below for all your ideas for holiday fun, especially Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast kind of area. If you have any questions about the things that we did, just ask and I'll leave links to all of the activities as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, click the like button for me, and I'll see you again very shortly.